My fingers stiffened around the phone as I stared at the notification screen. 3 missed calls from Laura, my lawyer. Then a short text, sharp enough to steal the air from my lungs. Mira, call me right now. And whatever you do, do not go to your son's home today. I had been seconds away from stepping out the door, purse over my shoulder, ready to head to Gabriel's place in Northcrest Valley. He had been unusually insistent all week. Mom, Elena's making your favorite spinach ravioli. You never visit anymore. Please come. Leo keeps asking for you. It sounded sweet at the time. Now, it sounded planned. I set my purse down and sank onto the armchair that Daniel and I picked out 31 years ago. Back when we bought this little house in Maple Ridge, my late husband always had a way of seeing trouble before it reached us. I used to lean on that instinct of his, but he'd been gone 4 years now, and the world had become something I had to navigate alone. With a tight breath, I dialed Laura. Where are you? She asked immediately. No greeting. I'm at home. Why? What's happening? Stay there. Lock your doors. A pause. And do not open them for anyone except me. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Her voice had that controlled tone she only used when a storm was already overhead. When she arrived, she placed a thick folder on my dining table. Pages shuffled out like evidence at a silent crime scene. Mira, she said quietly, 3 days ago, your son Gabriel and your daughter-in-law Elena filed a petition with the Superior Court. I felt a slow, cold numbness creep into my chest. A petition for what? To have you declared mentally incompetent? She didn't soften the words. They want full guardianship, control of every asset in your estate. My mouth went dry. That's impossible. I'm 64. I manage my own accounts. I volunteer. I walk 3 miles every morning. Why would they even attempt this? Laura pushed a valuation report toward me. Your home is worth about $2.2 million now. Your retirement funds and Daniel's life insurance sit at around $1.5 million. Add savings and investments. Your estate totals just under $4 million. I knew we had security. Daniel and I spent decades being careful, planning for a future we thought our family would protect, not raid. But hearing the numbers laid out like a treasure map made me feel suddenly hunted. Laura pulled up another set of documents. They've been documenting you for months. Photos of you looking confused. She slid one toward me standing in front of a display of olive oils at the market. I had simply been trying to find the brand Daniel used to buy. A note from their family doctor claiming I seemed disoriented during a checkup. I had been recovering from a sinus infection. A recording of me mixing up my new PIN number. Normal forgetfulness twisted into a trap. They're building a narrative, Laura said, and they've been careful. My hands trembled. My son would never do this, not Gabriel. I need you to hear this, Mira, she said gently. They've planned this with precision. I stared at her. Why? For what? Laura hesitated. There's something else I found this morning. Something you need to see, because the next document she placed in front of me didn't just explain their motives. It revealed a betrayal far deeper than I ever imagined. Laura placed a second stack of papers in front of me, this one clipped tightly together as if it needed restraint. Mira, she said, lowering her voice, this is their financial disclosure. They were required to submit it as part of the petition. I pulled the pages closer. My name wasn't on them, yet every number felt like it had been carved out of my skin. Gabriel and Elena were drowning. Their house, an oversized modern place in Northcrest Valley, carried a mortgage of $690,000. Their credit cards totaled nearly $48,000. And the most shocking part, they invested in a startup, Laura said, tapping a highlighted line. Or rather, Elena did. A design tech company her colleague pitched. They put in $320,000. The company collapsed last winter. My breath hitched. They lost all of it, every dollar. I closed my eyes. Gabriel hadn't mentioned any of this. He had smiled at Christmas, laughed with Leo, toasted with us, all while carrying debt heavy enough to crush a future. Why didn't he come to me? I whispered. He knows I would have helped. I always helped. He didn't want help, Laura said gently. He wanted control. I leaned back, heart pounding. It made a twisted kind of sense now. Their sudden warmth, the repeated invitations, Elena's new habit of asking casual questions about my bills, my health, my routines. I had thought she was being attentive, but she had been documenting. Laura opened her laptop and turned it toward me. You need to see this. A series of screenshots filled the screen. Messages between Gabriel and Elena, included accidentally in the petition files. They had been discussing my estate like it was a budget plan. Elena, if we secure guardianship, we can stabilize everything in 6 months. Gabriel, Mom won't fight it. She trusts us. Elena, the court likes clean narratives. We just need more examples of her forgetfulness. Gabriel, we'll get them. She mixes things up all the time. Elena, once we have the authority, we can sell the Maple Ridge house first. That wipes out half our debt. My chest tightened. Sell the house, my house, the place Daniel and I built our life in. The place where he took his last breath. The place where I still spoke to him on quiet mornings. I felt something break inside me. Not a loud crack, just a soft, painful tear. Laura watched me carefully. This is financial exploitation, Mira. Textbook. I don't understand, I murmured. Why go this far? Why lie? Why not talk to me? Because guardianship doesn't just give them access, she said. It gives them power. It could sell your home, close your accounts, put you in a facility, even decide what medication you take. My own son, I whispered. My boy who used to fall asleep on my chest, who cried when his father died, who said he'd take care of me someday. Laura placed her hand gently on mine. I need you to be strong now, and careful. I tried to catch my breath, but the ache wouldn't loosen. What do we do next? I asked. We gather evidence. Real evidence, Laura said. But Mira, you can't let them know we know. Not yet. I nodded, though my heart felt split open. What's our first step? Laura hesitated. Before anything else, we need an outside evaluation, a cognitive assessment, and I already scheduled one for you. When? I asked. She exhaled slowly. Tomorrow morning. But the assessment wasn't the real test. The real shock came later that night, after an unexpected knock on my door changed everything. The knock came just after 9 in the evening. A steady, deliberate sound, not frantic, not friendly. I froze halfway down the hallway. No one visits me unannounced at night, not since Daniel passed. I waited, breath tight in my chest. Then a voice filtered through the door. Mom, it's me, Gabriel. My heart dropped. Not today, not now. Not when Laura had explicitly told me to keep distance until we understood everything they were building against me. I forced my voice steady. Gabriel, it's late. Is everything all right? Can we talk? His tone was soft, almost careful. Just for a minute. I swallowed hard. His visits were rare these days, and suddenly, tonight of all nights, he was at my door. Coincidence felt impossible. I hesitated before opening the door, leaving the chain latched. He looked tired, or guilty, or maybe I was finally seeing what I'd been refusing to see for months. He smiled faintly. Mom, why is the chain on? I wasn't expecting anyone, I answered. Especially this late. He chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. It's just me, your son. Come on, open up. I didn't move. A flicker of irritation crossed his expression, quick but unmistakable. What do you want, Gabriel? I asked. He shifted his weight, hands buried in his jacket pockets. I was worried about you. I came by to check in. I wondered how many times he had rehearsed that line. Well, I said, keeping my tone neutral. I'm fine. But it's late, and I have an early appointment tomorrow. Appointment? His head tilted. What appointment? I cursed myself inwardly, careless. I should have said nothing. A checkup, I added quickly. Just routine. His eyes narrowed a fraction. At this hour? You don't usually schedule things without telling me. Without telling him? Since when was I reporting my schedule to my son? He tried smiling again, but this one was forced. Mom, you know you can rely on me. I just want to support you. Support. A word that tasted like metal now. Behind him, a car idled on the street. A black crossover. I recognized it. Elena's. She was sitting in the passenger seat, watching the house. Not checking in, not worried, monitoring. A sharp chill spread through me. Gabriel, I said quietly. We can talk another day. I'm going to sleep now. For a second, he didn't move. And something in his face shifted. Disappointment, frustration, calculation. I didn't know which hurt more. Fine, he finally said. We'll talk soon. He stepped back, and as he did, I caught his final expression, cold, flat, unreadable. I closed the door gently and locked every bolt. I didn't sleep that night, not really. The next morning, I arrived at the Cognitive Assessment Center early. The waiting room was bright, the walls lined with soft watercolor paintings, a space designed to calm people who were afraid of losing their identity. Dr. Sienna Harlow greeted me with a warm handshake. Mira, we'll go step by step. No pressure, just answer naturally. The tests began. Memory recall, pattern recognition, reasoning puzzles, word associations, spatial tasks, timed exercises. I could feel Daniel in the back of my mind, steadying me the way he always did. After an hour, Dr. Harlow smiled. You're sharp, Mira. Extremely sharp. I see no cognitive impairment of any kind. Relief washed through me like warm water. But then she paused, just slightly. There is one more thing, she said. Your son contacted our clinic yesterday, she added quietly, and you need to know exactly what he said. My pulse quickened. Gabriel contacted you, I asked. Dr. Harlow closed her tablet and folded her hands gently on top. He called yesterday afternoon. He said he was your son, and that he was concerned about your declining memory. My mouth went dry. He said, she continued carefully, that you've been mixing up dates, misplacing important items, and forgetting conversations. He asked if there was a way to document your impairment discreetly. I felt the breath leave my lungs in one slow exhale. He wanted you to label me incompetent, I said quietly. Her expression softened. I cannot diagnose someone based on a family member's word, but the tone of his request, it didn't sound like concern, Mira. It sounded like preparation. Preparation. The words sliced through me. I had raised Gabriel to be thoughtful, patient, tender. He used to run barefoot through the garden while Daniel grilled dinner, dirt on his cheeks, laughter in his chest. He used to hug me for no reason. He used to talk to me about everything. Now he spoke about me to strangers like I was already gone. Dr. Harlow continued. I informed him that all evaluations must be done ethically and directly with the patient. He didn't seem pleased. I pressed my fingers to my temple. He's building a case. Whatever he's building, she said, your results today contradict every claim he made. You performed well above average. The words were comforting, but not enough to dull the ache swelling in my chest. When I stepped outside, the winter air bit at my cheeks. I pulled my coat tighter and started toward my car. My phone buzzed before I reached it. A message from Gabriel. Hey Mom, heard you were out early today. Everything okay? I stared at the screen. So he was tracking my movements now. I typed back slowly. Just errands. I'm fine. He replied instantly. Good. Elena and I want you over for dinner tonight. We need to talk. My stomach twisted. The same phrase Laura warned me about. We need to talk. I deleted the message without answering. On the drive home, I replayed every conversation from the past year. The subtle questions, the careful tone, the sudden attention. Elena insisting on helping me organize my paperwork. Gabriel suggesting I let him handle the confusing stuff. Small pieces that didn't seem sinister then, but now formed the outline of something calculated. When I reached my house, the mailbox flag was raised. I hadn't expected anything, but inside was a letter, official looking, stamped with the state crest. A notice of preliminary hearing. My heart dropped. They were moving faster than we thought. I sat on the porch steps, gripping the paper so tightly it wrinkled. How many months had they been planning this? How many quiet moments had they twisted into ammunition? How many times had they smiled at me while plotting behind closed doors? I felt the ground shift beneath me. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't an emotional overreaction. It wasn't desperation gone too far. It was deliberate. My phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from an unknown number. Mira, this is important. We need to meet privately. I know what Gabriel and Elena are doing. Please don't tell them I contacted you. I stared at the name attached to the message, stunned. It was someone I never expected, because the person asking to meet me wasn't a relative, a friend, or even someone close. It was someone inside their home. I read the message 3 times before I truly believed the name on the screen. Elena's younger sister, Maya. We were never close. She visited occasionally, birthdays, holidays, sometimes dropping by to pick up Leo when Elena was busy. Quiet, observant, polite. She rarely spoke unless spoken to. And when she did, she chose her words carefully. Why would she contact me now? Why secretly? I typed back cautiously. What do you know? Her reply came almost immediately. Not safe to text. Please meet me at the cafe near Willowbridge Park. Noon tomorrow. Don't let Gabriel or Elena know. Please, Mira. I tucked the phone away, feeling the familiar dread pulse under my ribs. Every step I took now felt like walking on thin glass. The next morning, the cafe was half full. Sunlight filtered through the tall windows, warming the wooden tables. Maya sat in the corner, hood pulled loosely over her dark hair, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. She looked up and motioned me over. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I sat across from her. Why contact me now, Maya? She exhaled shakily. Because things are worse than you think. A cold feeling slipped into my stomach. Tell me. She glanced toward the door, as if expecting Gabriel and Elena to burst through it. They've been planning this for almost a year, and are convinced they can win. I stiffened. I already know about the petition. Her eyes widened. Then you don't know everything. She pulled out her phone, hands trembling slightly. I started recording some of their conversations months ago. Not because I wanted to spy, but because something felt wrong. Elena has changed. And Gabriel? She paused. He's not the brother-in-law I knew. She tapped a file. The audio began to play softly, the sound just loud enough for me to hear. Gabriel's voice came first, low and frustrated. We need to move faster. Mom's been more alert lately. Elena responded sharply. She's alert when she wants to be. The judge won't question a doctor's report. Once we control the finances, everything else falls into place. My heart thudded painfully. Another clip. Elena, the Maple Ridge house alone clears almost $2 million if we sell quickly. If she resists, we'll emphasize safety concerns. Judges never want the liability. Gabriel, she'll hate us for it. Elena, not if she doesn't understand what's happening. And she won't. Not once we handle the medical side. Handle the medical side. The words chilled me. Maya paused the audio. There's more. Hours of it. Plans. Arguments. Even instructions for manipulating interactions so she looks forgetful in front of others. I was trembling before I realized it. Maya, why are you showing me this? She swallowed hard. Because they don't care who they hurt anymore. And Leo, she hesitated. Leo heard something he shouldn't have last week. He's scared of them now. Leo, my grandson, my sweet, gentle Leo, who loved to show me his drawings and hide notes in my coat pockets. What did he hear? I asked. Maya looked down at her hands. He heard Elena telling Gabriel that once they get control, they're moving you into a residential facility, far from here, somewhere cheap. I felt something inside me crumble. She reached into her bag and placed a small flash drive on the table. This has the recordings, all of them. You need this for court, and you need to protect yourself, Mira. They're desperate. People do reckless things when they're cornered. I touched the flash drive, my fingers cold. Maya, I said softly, why risk all this? Elena is your sister. She looked up, eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years. Fear. I'm risking it because she isn't the sister I grew up with anymore. Before I could respond, her phone vibrated. She glanced at the screen, and her face drained of color. It's Elena, she whispered. She's asking where I am. She stood abruptly, pulling her hood over her head. I have to go. Don't contact me directly. And Mira, she stepped closer, voice barely a breath. Whatever you do, don't go anywhere alone. Because less than an hour later, as I drove home, a car began following me, and the license plate was one I recognized. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The silver sedan in my rearview mirror kept the same distance through every turn. Not too close, not too far, just steady, quiet, intentional. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I took a left, instead of going straight toward Maple Ridge. The sedan followed. I slowed at a yellow light. The sedan slowed too, easing behind me with perfect timing. My heart thudded hard against my ribs. I recognized the license plate then. Elena's cousin's car. He had driven it during a family gathering last summer. A small detail, but enough to make my skin crawl. I made another turn, this time toward the community library, hoping the car would pass. It didn't. It shadowed me, second by second. Maya's words echoed sharply. Don't go anywhere alone. I pulled into the library parking lot. It was crowded. Thank God. Children, parents, students, people walking in and out, witnesses, safety. The sedan paused at the entrance before rolling past slowly, the driver's face hidden behind tinted windows. Then it circled the block, watching. I sat in the car until my heartbeat steadied. Only when the sedan disappeared did I walk inside the library and sit at a table near the large windows. I called Laura. You're being followed? She asked, alarm tightening her voice. I'm certain. Naya warned me. And now, Mira, listen carefully, she said. Do not confront them. Do not message them. And do not go home alone until I check your security. I'll come to you. Laura, no arguments. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I hung up and inhaled slowly, pressing a hand to my chest. My life had started to resemble the kind of story I used to watch on late-night television, the kind where the danger felt exaggerated, until it was yours, period. I pulled the flash drive from my purse and set it on the table, a single piece of plastic that now held the only proof of the truth. Proof that could destroy Gabriel and Elena's entire case. Proof they would never want a judge to hear. The more I looked at it, the more I understood why the sedan had been following me. They weren't worried about my well-being. They were worried I knew. Laura arrived with her laptop bag slung over her shoulder. She sat beside me quickly and lowered her voice. You did the right thing coming here. Let's see what Maya gave you. We went through the recordings one by one. Some were arguments about debt. Some were cold calculations about how to handle me. Some were even calmer, almost casual conversations where my name slipped out as if I were a burdensome project they needed to manage. But one recording froze both of us. Elena's voice. If she fights us, we'll say she's paranoid. The court listens to professionals, not seniors who panic. Gabriel. She won't panic. She'll get confused. She always does. Elena. Then we use that. The judge will see decline. And if she gets an outside assessment, a pause. Gabriel. Then we challenge it. Or find a doctor who'll write what we need. Laura leaned back, eyes dark with anger. This is intentional manipulation. This is exploitation. And we're going to bury their case with it. Before I could respond, Laura's phone buzzed. She looked down, her expression hardening instantly. It's the court clerk, she said. There's a new update on your file. My breath hitched. What kind of update? She met my eyes with a look that made my stomach twist. The hearing date was moved, she said quietly. And not in your favor. Someone is accelerating the process. The hearing was moved up to next week, Laura said, staring at her phone as if the screen had personally insulted her. That's unusual. Very unusual. My stomach dropped. Why would they move it sooner? There are only two possibilities, she said. Either the court had an unexpected slot open. She paused, her expression darkening. Or someone requested an urgent review. You mean Gabriel and Elena? Or their attorney, Laura replied. Someone pushing for immediate guardianship. Someone who doesn't want us to have time to prepare. The room suddenly felt smaller. The hum of the library's heating system sounded distant, muffled by the rush of blood in my ears. Do they know about the assessment? I whispered. Laura shook her head. No, and they can't know until we present it in court. But Gabriel called the clinic, I said. What if he asked them to document decline, she cut in. He didn't ask for results, and privacy laws protect you. They can't access the evaluation without your consent. I let out a shaky breath, but I didn't feel reassured, not fully. Laura packed up her laptop. We need to move fast. I'll file to submit the recordings, plus your assessment. That's enough to punch holes in their entire petition. I held the flash drive tightly. The weight felt insignificant, but the contents felt like a shield and a weapon. We stepped outside the library together. The parking lot looked ordinary again. No silver sedan, no tinted windows, no shadows creeping behind the cars. But the absence didn't comfort me. It only meant they knew when to disappear. Laura followed me home, then insisted on walking through the house. She checked windows, back doors, even the side gate. Your security looks fine, she said, but keep the deadbolts locked. Don't open the door unless you know who's there. I nodded. She paused before leaving. Mira, you need someone with you for the next few days. Do you have anyone who can stay? My mind went first to Gabriel, an instinct so old it hadn't caught up to reality. That hurt more than anything else. No, I said softly. It's just me. You're not alone, she said. You have me. Her kindness nearly cracked me open. After she left, I spent hours pacing through the house. Every picture frame felt like a memory I couldn't afford to lose. Every room held a piece of Daniel. Every corner whispered the life I built, the life someone else was trying to claim. Near evening, my phone vibrated again. A new message from Gabriel. Mom, we're worried. You've been distant. We need to talk before things get worse. Dinner tomorrow? Just us. No pressure. The calmness in his tone felt rehearsed, polished, like something meant for a judge to hear, not a mother. I didn't respond. His second message came moments later. Ignoring us won't help anyone. You're making this harder than it needs to be. A chill crawled down my spine. I set the phone down, walked into the living room, and sat on the very couch where Daniel and I once planned our entire future. Now, I was planning how to keep mine from being rewritten by my own child. Night fell quietly, but my thoughts refused to settle. I checked every lock twice, then 3 times. Finally, near midnight, I retreated to my bedroom, but just as I reached for the lamp, another sound broke the silence, a soft rustling near the back of the house. I froze. Then, a click, like a gate latching or unlatching. My heartbeat stuttered. I moved quietly toward the hallway, listening. Nothing. Then my phone buzzed with a single startling notification, a motion alert from my backyard camera. And when I opened the video feed, the figure standing behind my house was someone I never expected to see there at all. The motion alert replayed automatically, the timestamp blinking at the bottom of the screen. The image sharpened, and my breath caught in my throat. It wasn't Gabriel. It wasn't Elena. It wasn't the cousin with the silver sedan. It was Leo, my grandson. He stood near the back fence, hood up, hands buried in his pockets, shifting anxiously from one foot to the other. He kept glancing toward the house, then back over his shoulder, as if afraid of being followed. Why would he come here at night, alone? I hurried to the back door and unlocked it just enough to call out. Leo? His head snapped toward me, eyes wide. For a moment, he looked like a frightened child again. Not the 13-year-old who had grown far too quickly in the past year. Grandma, he whispered, rushing forward. I had to come. I stepped aside to let him in, locking the door immediately behind us. Leo, sweetheart, what are you doing here? Does your mother know you're out? He shook his head violently. No, she can't know. Neither can Dad. The fear in his voice made my chest tighten. I guided him into the kitchen. His hands were trembling. I warned him a mug of tea, just to get him to sit still. What happened? I asked, leaning across the table. He looked down at his fingers gripping the mug. They were talking again, Mom and Dad. He swallowed hard. It was about you. A cold wave rippled through me. What did they say? He hesitated, as if choosing words carefully. Mom said the hearing isn't enough anymore. She said they need to make sure the judge sees the situation clearly. My pulse quickened. What does that mean, Leo? His voice cracked. She said if you don't cooperate, they'll have to show the court how unstable you've become. Dad didn't say anything at first, but then he said maybe letting you get flustered in public would help their case. I felt sick. Leo continued, voice shaking. They're planning something for tomorrow. They want you to come over so they can talk in front of people. Neighbors, family, friends, anyone who can say you were confused or upset. A staged incident, of course. I sat back slowly, my hands cold. Leo, I'm so sorry you heard that. He shook his head. I'm sorry you have to deal with them. They're not, his voice broke. They're not who they used to be. I reached for his hand. Thank you for telling me. His lip trembled. Grandma, I'm scared. They're angry all the time. Dad yelled at me yesterday because I asked why he was taking your mail. I stiffened. What mail? Leo looked up with wide eyes. He said it was just bills, but he took a letter from the court. I saw him hide it in his study. A hearing notice, the one I found, late. Now I knew why. Suddenly, everything aligned. They're desperate, I said quietly. Leo nodded. Mom said if the judge sides with you, their lives will fall apart. He blinked rapidly, tears forming. Grandma, are you going to be okay? I squeezed his hand gently. Yes, sweetheart. Because of you. A car door slammed outside, loud, sharp, too close. Leo flinched. I jumped up and looked out the kitchen window. Headlights washed across my driveway. A black SUV, Elena's. And this time, she wasn't alone. Someone else was stepping out of the passenger side, and the sight of them made my blood run cold. Elena's SUV idled in my driveway, headlights glaring through the window like two white, unblinking eyes. The passenger door opened, and a figure stepping out made my entire body seize. Gabriel. He scanned the house the way someone searches for a weakness. Purposeful, intentional. Not a son visiting his mother, but a man arriving to handle a problem. Leo grabbed my sleeve, panic rising in his voice. "Grandma, please don't open the door. Please." "I won't," I whispered. But they were already walking toward the house. A heavy knock rattled the front door. Not polite, not hesitant. A command. "Mom," Gabriel's voice boomed. "Open the door. We need to talk, now." I swallowed. My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed steady when I called out. "It's late. Come back tomorrow." Another knock, harder. Elena's voice cut in, sharp and falsely sweet. "Mira, we know you're awake. We saw the lights. This is important." Leo squeezed my arm. "Don't trust them." I moved him gently behind me. "Stay quiet." Gabriel knocked again, then tried the handle. The locked door resisted. Thank God. "Mom," he said, quieter this time, but filled with warning. "We need to clear things up before they get worse." Clear things up. They wanted control of the narrative. Before court, before the truth surfaced. I stepped closer to the door, but didn't open it. "Whatever you need to discuss can wait." Elena's tone shifted instantly. "Mira, if you don't come out, you're proving our point." Leo's breath caught. I froze. "Our point?" I asked. "That you can't manage things alone anymore," she said. "You're isolating. You're confused. You're acting irrationally." Leo let out a tiny gasp. "She's lying," Gabriel cut in. "Mom, we don't want this to escalate, but if you refuse to talk, we'll have to document it." My blood ran cold. Document it. Use it as evidence. Twist my fear into incompetence. Now I understood why Maya warned me, why the sedan followed me, why Gabriel and Elena were suddenly pushing so hard. They were running out of time, and they were trying to force a scene. "Please open the door," Gabriel repeated. "If you're okay, just show us." "I'm fine," I said firmly. "You need to leave." "Mom," he said, voice dropping into something darker. "If you don't open this door, we'll have no choice but to take the next step. And you won't like how it looks." Leo's face drained of color. "Grandma, don't," he whispered. "They're trying to trap you." I stood still, breath shaking, heart pounding. "I'm calling my lawyer," I said. Elena scoffed. "Laura can't help you tonight," Gabriel added. "If you think she'll fix everything, you're more confused than we thought." Leo looked like he might cry. "Grandma, please." My phone buzzed suddenly in my pocket. A message from Laura. "Do not open the door. I'm on my way. And Mira, whatever happens, stay calm. We have what we need." Another buzz. "I just filed an emergency motion. Gabriel and Elena don't know it yet." I stared at the screen in disbelief. Then, a third message. "Also, someone else is coming to the house. Someone who will protect you until I arrive. Do not be afraid when you see them." I barely had time to read the last line when a second pair of headlights swept across my yard from the opposite direction. Bright, fast, and familiar. Because the person stepping out of that car wasn't Gabriel or Elena. It was someone whose arrival would change everything in the final hours before the hearing. The second car pulled into my driveway with a confidence the SUV outside didn't have. Its headlights cut across the lawn, forcing Gabriel and Elena to turn. The engine shut off, the door opened, and then I saw who Laura had sent. Detective Rowan Hart, a tall, calm man with silver at his temples and a reputation for exposing financial crimes, especially cases involving elder exploitation. I'd met him years ago when he gave a community safety seminar. Never did I imagine he'd end up at my house. He walked toward the front steps with steady, deliberate steps, badge clipped to his belt, gaze fixed on Gabriel. "Good evening," he said simply. Gabriel stiffened. "Detective, what are you doing here?" Rowan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Responding to an urgent request from counsel. and ensuring everyone here is safe. Elena's jaw tightened. Safe? We're her family. Rowan stepped between them and my front door. You're also currently involved in a guardianship petition. That means any unexpected visit after dark is inappropriate and potentially coercive. Gabriel's face twisted. This is ridiculous. We came to check on her. Rowan nodded once. Then you can check on her in court tomorrow. Until then, you're trespassing. The word landed like a slap. Elena took a step forward. We're trying to help her. Rowan didn't move. The court will decide whether your definition of help is accurate. For now, you need to leave. Gabriel's temper flared. You don't understand the situation. I understand it perfectly, Rowan said evenly. And I also understand that any attempt to provoke an emotional reaction from Mira tonight will be noted as harassment. Leo, standing behind me in the hallway, whispered, "He's protecting you." I placed a hand on his shoulder. Gabriel's expression hardened. If Mom were really fine, she'd come talk to us. Rowan finally turned, looking directly at the door, as he spoke loud enough for them to hear. Mira, you're under no obligation to open this door. You're safe. I exhaled shakily. Thank you, I said through the door. Gabriel's voice cracked. Mom, please, don't do this. But I heard it now. The desperation of someone losing control, not the remorse of a son regaining his conscience. Rowan stepped closer to them. Leave, now, or I'll document this incident for the court. Elena tugged Gabriel's arm. Let's go. He resisted. For a moment, it looked like he might push past the detective. But then he saw something in Rowan's eyes, a line he knew he couldn't cross. They retreated to their SUV. The engine roared. The headlights swung away. And then, they were gone. The moment the sound faded down the street, my knees finally gave out. I leaned against the wall, overwhelmed. Rowan knocked gently. Mira, it's safe now. I unlocked the door. He stepped inside, offering a calm nod. Tomorrow will be difficult, but you have everything you need. Your assessment, the recordings, and witnesses who aren't afraid to speak. Leo stepped forward courageously. I'll tell the judge everything. Rowan gave him a warm, steady look, and that might be what saves all of this. I felt tears gathering, but they weren't from fear anymore. They were from relief. Laura arrived minutes later, breathless, files in hand. Everything is ready, she said. Their case collapses the moment we present our evidence. I looked around my home, the place I nearly lost, the place I fought for, the place Daniel built with me, brick by brick, room by room, year by year. Mira, Laura said softly, placing a hand on my arm, tomorrow, you take your life back. And for the first time in months, I believed her. Leo hugged me tightly. I'm with you, he whispered. I held him close. I know. Tomorrow would decide everything. My home, my independence, my future, my peace. But tonight I wasn't afraid.